I'm here with my father-in-law's 89 Chevy. 89, they had these goofy halogen lights on the front. Even with the high beams on, it's barely as bright as the dims on anything else. So we pulled the marker lights out and we replaced them, built a bracket behind the marker lights with these Nilight 12-inch light bars. You can see the bracket, it's just held on there with roofing screws, a piece of angle iron. This one I had to notch for the coolant lines. It's just hooked up with a relay. The brights wire coming off the other headlights, we use it to activate the relay, so these get power directly from the battery. So I'm going to put it all back together and you see how it looks. We're going to put the lenses from the marker lights or from the factory fog lights over the top, so when they're not on you can't tell that it's not factory. So the truck's put back together. Waited till dark so we could show you guys the difference. I made a custom wiring harness and hooked all 4 halogen lights in together. And I ran a switch into the cab. It's hard to see, but up underneath the dash. Sorry, I don't have a light. But up under the dash, there's a... This is my wire I ran through the firewall. Goes into the panel there to a switched circuit. So when I turn the key on, we get the 4 halogens. They're not near as bright as they look in the video here. They are brighter than they were originally because the circuitry on the truck only puts out 9 volts. Lights are designed to operate on 12. So when I hooked them up with the relay, they're getting a full 12 volts from the battery. So they're a lot brighter. So those are the dims, and when I turn on the brights, the light bars come on. So when the brights are on, the whole front of this truck is lit up. You can see really well. And just a couple relays from Napa, piece of angle iron for a bracket, die grinder for cutting it, a bunch of butt connectors, some heat shrink, and a few hours to make the wiring harness for the upper lights was the hardest part of this. It took the longest, and there probably were simpler ways to do it. But now it looks completely stock until you hit those brights. And now we got light bars behind the factory lenses. One thing I didn't cover is this is the only blinker we're left with, which I think will be just fine. Prior to this, the fog light had a blinker in them that was really bright, but now that doesn't work obviously because all that's gutted. I took the wiring from all that and I wrapped it up in a Ziploc bag and put black tape on it to seal it, and I kind of just tucked it in behind the light bar. Consequence of that is now these 2 blinker indicators are on all the time, and when I turn them on they blink faster than factory. just because the computer's sensing that they're not drawing the voltage they should. But aside from that, taking this truck that was really difficult to drive at night, and now it's like driving a new one. Hope that helped you guys. Made this video because I haven't seen anybody else do this, and I've wanted to do it for a long time. I've got another 97 Chevy that I may do the same thing on. Bye. So I took the truck out to drive to the grocery store. I just wanted to show you guys the difference. You can't quite see how well I can see right now with the low beams on, which now is all 4 halogen lights. But when I click this on, everything is very visible now. And these old country roads, people like to walk on the shoulders, and they're very difficult to see. They always wear dark clothing, and those factory fog lights kind of angle out towards the shoulder originally. So the light bars light up the ditches really well. But it's really hard to see on the camera how well this is working, but it looks really good from the driver's seat, and I think it's definitely worth the day and a half of figuring things out that it took to make it happen. But just to recap, I disconnected the factory headlight harness. I made my own harness and hooked it into a relay, so where it's it's drawing power directly from the battery, so they're brighter to begin with. 2, all 4 halogen lights are on for the dims, which only 2 of them were on before, and even the brights on the factory halogens were just, I drive this thing around with the brights on, would drive this thing around with the brights on, and nobody ever flashed their lights on me. You couldn't tell that they were brights. They were really dim. And so now they're just wired up permanently for the dims, and we've got the light bar for the brights, and everything works great. It's like driving a modern truck, and I think I had maybe $100 if you count all the tools and the wiring and the butt connectors and everything I bought for this project. But the light bars themselves cost $30 each, free shipping on Amazon. They were Nilight, I believe it's Nilight 12-inch light bars, and they fit perfectly behind the lenses. They work really well. They're sealed and watertight, so I highly recommend them. Thank you.